right. Okay. Thank you for joining us today. We're looking forward to an opportunity to share with you a little direct experience from a school that implements the updated Danielson framework for teaching, as well as the specific translation that they themselves have collaborated with the organization Tonomi to create and to put into the platform for Tonomi to ensure that all of the classroom teachers in their setting receive equitable access to the feedback and the opportunities for professional growth that we know the framework can provide. If you're joining us today and you're not familiar with the framework for teaching, note that this is certainly a resource you can visit the website www.danielsongroup.org to learn more about. And if you are familiar with the framework for teaching, I'm excited for you to hear an experience again where a school has been implementing the framework, has now taken an opportunity to translate the framework into Espanol so that all of their teachers receive equitable opportunities for that growth. So my pleasure to be here today with you. My name is Lindsay Prendergast. I'm the Assistant Director at the Danielson Group. I've also worked in bilingual schools multiple years where we actually did ourselves do some rudimentary translations of the framework into Spanish for the exact same purpose that Sylvia's school has. So we're very proud as an organization to have this school representing this opportunity to share with the rest of the world in not only Central and South America, but all countries where there may be Spanish-speaking teachers in the classroom. So Silvia Elena Franco is here with me today. She's the head of secondary education at Colegio Colombo Británico. Silvia, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your role at the school. Where is the school located? Maybe a little bit about the campus and how many students you have, what type of school it is, any details that might help others understand the context of your school.
Hello, everyone. I'm Silvia Elena Franco. I work at Colegio Colombo Británico. It's located in Cali, Colombia, and it's a large school, IB school. It's an international school also with a British impact in our culture, and we have been running for 70 years approximately, and we have been running with the DP program for a long time, and now we're a full IB school with the 4 programs. And also in secondary, that is the section that I run, we have approximately 600 students from 6 through 12. And yeah, that's about it.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Sylvia, I know from having prior conversations with you that you use a virtual platform called Tonomi to support your teachers' professional growth and that you use for your administrators to do classroom observations. Could you tell me a little bit about the decision to use the platform? What do you think what has it done for your school overall?
I would say that at CCV, we started using the Danielson framework a long time ago. And the platform that we used in the past did not have the updates, and the Danielson framework has been updated since then. So that's when we started to look for another tool that kept the same framework and that could provide the elements to carry on with teacher appraisal and support their professional development. And that's when we got to Tonomi. And what we have found out is that it offers the possibility to give feedback to teachers in a very specific way, and that is helpful for teachers that want to improve and grow. So we're very pleased to have that platform now, Tonomi, that also allows different roles in the type of teacher hierarchy that you may have in schools. So you can give different roles to give feedback and to do the team teaching and coaching for teachers. So it's pretty helpful.
Great. Yeah, it sounds really flexible. And I think that's something important to think about as, when we use a computer platform, sometimes it's guided by specific rules, but it sounds like your school has found a way to use it in a very flexible way that supports teachers' individual growth. And I really appreciate that growth is a word that you use several times. We're not just talking about evaluation, although evaluation is important above our practice, but that we ultimately want to support that professional development for our teachers. So your early stages in the journey using Tonomi and the framework for teaching have predominantly been only in English. Certainly the framework was never available in Spanish before, right? Um,
Yeah.
so when you first started using that framework and the Tonomi platform, did you see evidence of shifts in the practice, or how did you see your teachers grow when you were first using the framework and the platform?
Well, at that time, I did the translation of the all the framework, and teachers just had it like, I mean, digital, but just for educational purposes, of course. And of course it makes it more difficult when you have to check your platform and then go to another document and do that type of things. So in our school, the majority of teachers are bilingual, but still there is a group of Spanish speaking teachers that we could not reach out to in the same way that the other teachers. So when dealing with a tool that requires translation or a great effort from a certain group of team members, it also creates a challenge for the teachers. And on the other part, whoever is giving the feedback to, if you have maybe an area coordinator or maybe a leader uh, that is only English speaker and has to give feedback in Spanish. So also it creates both ends, more challenges. So when we started with To Know Me last year, we started talking about this situation because I actually I have a master's in translation, so I'm aware of what it implies and what it requires. So we start talking and looking at ways that we could maybe have that framework also in Spanish. So we start discussing those possibilities.
That's great. When you were first using the framework just in English, did you have experiences where you feel like you had maybe an example of how it really supported a teacher's professional growth?
When you find a platform that also has a library and has and that's something that I know we're going to continue to work on, because when you have a platform that also includes a library and other resources and things that you can use for growth and professional development with teachers, of course you want that to be available for both languages. In our case, it's mainly English and Spanish. So but specifically, for example, right now that we have the self-reflection and the self-evaluation, a first step that the teachers, when they register into NOMI, need to do, it makes a huge difference to have the teacher doing it in their language they understand, and they can really go through easily, than when they have to maybe read in English, translate to Spanish, and then go back to answer the question. It creates a lot of challenges and distractions at the same time when you're asking a teacher to really do a self-reflection on their practices. So it really helps when you can um, take away that barrier of language barrier and just focus on what is needed and is most important. That is the reflection of the teacher on their practices.
I love it. You mentioned that the platform has that self-assessment app. The piece of the platform includes that. How do you use that with your teachers for any language? How do you use that specifically?
When the teachers start and they start in the platform, there are, before they're explain about the Danielson framework and all the domains and what implies and all that. So after that, then they go into the platform and they do the self-reflection, and that's a starting point of what they may need. Where do you need to focus coaching, maybe with certain groups of teachers, or where they can ask for help, and even for general professional development, when you bring in other workshops and other things that you want to work with teachers to improve their practices and all that, that gives you a lot of hints and guidelines of where to head, where to go.
Nice. I appreciate that. We often think of when we speak about evaluation, it's something that is done to teachers and they're not as participatory in that process. But when they start with self-assessment and reflection on their practice, they're immediately invited to be part of their own professional growth journey. So I commend you for that. I think that's a great piece of the
Mm-hmm.
process. Um, so again, you've mentioned this piece that the ability to now conduct those observations and engage teachers in the self-assessment in Spanish is available, that you've kind of leveled the playing field. You've removed those barriers, right? So
Yeah.
when you think about that piece, what do you how might that also help you to shift your thinking about professional development that you might provide those teachers moving forward?
Well, now that the complete framework is available in Spanish, I think it's an opening door for much deeper and more inclusive professional development across our school community because teachers will be able to engage with the ideas in the language they use to think, reflect, and collaborate, which means their reflections will be more authentic, I think, and their contribution will be more precise. um, and also this also creates a more collaborative culture, where every teacher, regardless of the language proficiency, they can fully participate more in professional discussions and feel ownership of the process. But I also think that we need to keep moving forward on that line because, like I said, another advantage of Danielson is that you can also add add a add material that will be helpful for teachers. So you can upload maybe material that is in Spanish that you use to give feedback or articles that will help them, improve in certain aspects. And so you can also include resources that are in Spanish. So that will be now I think our next step to start moving forward to that and to be really enriching our platform with those materials that will be also accessible for teachers in Spanish, not only in English.
That's great. And I absolutely agree. We've taken the first step. The translation has happened and it's in the platform. Now we need the equivalent resources to support. So thank you. In just a moment, I'll just ask you one last question of reflection, and then we'll jump over to Ilya, the founder and CEO of Genomi, who's going to share with us a model of the actual platform itself. But Sylvia, we don't know who's out there watching today. We can't see them, but there may be many people watching this on the recording in the future too, wondering perhaps what would be a first step if they're thinking about shifting to using Tonomi or to the framework, or basically just improving their overall teacher professional growth system and process. What would you recommend as just a first step to take?
I think just getting to know the framework because I find it fascinating and it's very enriching. And I think if you look at this process, like you were saying, and when we use it more as a feedback, as an IB community, we think we're lifelong learners. So we all have to learn something. And I think the Danielson framework allows that, allows us to be long life learners and to be reflecting on our practices continuously and to be able to really do things differently. We want to continue growing and improving.
Wonderful. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And
Okay.
Ilya, we'll pass it to you to share what it actually looks like behind the scenes.
Thank you, and I'll just the forefront thank you both of you, and also just pay tribute because, of course, as we started working with Sylvia and her community of teachers, we jumped on the opportunity to expand the coverage beyond English language speakers and promote that native way of thinking about the framework, what it stands for, and it's therefore really exciting to share with you how it works and what it looks like. So I'm not going to show you Sylvia's portal, of course, because that's secure and private. But so we will create sort of a replica of that. And at the end of this presentation, you'll see how you can also just create your own secure portal and give it a try. So there are two parts to the system. There's a system for the teachers, which is what the dashboard that you are seeing now, and also there's an administrative portal for your principals, coaches, anyone that has any degree of administrative access. As a teacher, this really is the only link or dashboard that I need to remember. In the top right corner is the little trigger that helps you instantly translate the same portal from English into Spanish, all parts of it. So you are really operating within the same portal. It can apply to both English and Spanish language speakers. So what is it about the framework? Of course, there are 4 domains, 22 components. I have completed already component number 3. So just to illustrate the point, I've selected the first domain. And as a teacher, I have a rare opportunity to reflect about my practice, really aligned completely to the language of the Danielson Group's framework for teaching. And so it gives me an opportunity to understand what is built into the framework. And of course, it promotes an opportunity for Sylvia and for other administrators to sort of unpack it, for me to sort of set expectations. And so teachers can just answer directly through the survey. It probably takes no more than 10 minutes. At any point, I can switch from Spanish into English, and I will see the same questions, and I can move back and forth, but now in English. But it's important to indicate that this is the intellectual property of the Danielson Group. And so through the Tonomi system, you are able to apply these situations into your own practice, and then also begin to reflect for each of the components within the domains. As a teacher, the opportunity to begin to see my self-reflection results for each of the component to clarify areas of strength and opportunities for growth aligned to each component of the framework. I can see each of the questions, so I can see the framework again, and I can understand how my results compare to other teachers in my school or in my community. And then also my self-reflection is brought together with my administrative feedback. So that's the next chapter. We're on the result page, and now we're going to switch to the administrative view. So as an administrator, there's a couple of things that I can have. Number one, in my settings, I can create different forms. The system includes some forms like pre and post observations, and now the same forms can be included in Spanish. So these forms are going to be also visible on the teacher's portal, both in English and in Spanish, and you'll be able to add your own forms, things that are really applicable only maybe to your school. And then number 2, when we are capturing feedback, and I'm going to kind of start new feedback form for this test teacher. On the left-hand side, you have the structure of the framework, and then an opportunity to provide your rating, bring together past reviews, past scores, add your view and feedback about specific behaviors. So the system really brings all of these individual observations, informal and formal, in one place from all the stakeholders. And then you can change into the Spanish language rubric and have the same framework now available for observation for Spanish native speakers, including these success elements for each of the components, and be able to provide very targeted, very personalized feedback directly to your teachers, and then have that feedback supported by the professional learning resources, which is, of course, evolving part of the framework. In English, there are over 100 resources vetted and curated from the Danielson Group and then aligned to the framework through the portal. Of course, the Spanish language has all of these resources, and now we're building a library of Spanish language local resources. I mean, I can add a few more things, but really that I would want to come back to the teacher's side, illustrate that as a teacher, I also can select forms, let's say this pre-observation form, and I can begin to add my goals, to add my feedback, my takeaways, everything again already pre-built, and you have an opportunity to add your own forms. The same goes for the different portfolio elements. So artifacts of learning, teachers can add them, can tag and organize them to the framework, be able to keep that part of their record, be able to keep help you track their progress and really support their progress. And then moving back to the teacher's results page, the feedback and the self-reflection, all of that is great, and that's where it really connects to personalized resources, and the resources are already organized to each of the components, taking into account this awareness summary. And of course, as the administrator, you'd be able to influence what kind of resources are prioritized and if something might be required. But for each resource, the teachers can indicate that they've completed it, and it begins to track the progress and track it to some of the goals that you might set up front for each teacher. So the platform really connects all of these moving parts together in one place, both for teachers and for the administrators, and everything is aligned to the Danielson framework for teaching. And so it's really a tremendous opportunity to be the first platform to enable this for Spanish language teachers without really a disruption to existing customers, and certainly and certainly perhaps as a great add-on for the new schools.
And
Can
then
you guys hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
Sylvia, how did you feel about that presentation? Because I wanted to let you know that your portal should also include these Spanish language forms and
Oh, you're
I
muted.
mean, it will be great. You're starting to include then the forms also in Spanish, the ones you're translating and you're getting. I had a question, like you were going to find out if we did it in Spanish. Remember that there was something that you still had to kind of put together to see that we didn't lose the feedback and the information that we given before.
this was about leaving feedback in English and in Spanish, that it was
Yes.
two separate sort of IDs, right? And then yes, when we merge it together, it'll be interchangeable. So don't worry, your Spanish language observers can use the Spanish language rubric, and everything will keep together.
Okay, so that's great. So the other thing is that when you go into Danielson, because I've seen that not that I have few teachers that didn't finish the process from last year. So when they are going to go back and do again the complete their self reflection, they just go into the other domains that they haven't finished, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. They just
They
pick
pick
up
up
where
where
they
they
left off.
left, and okay. And
Yeah.
and I also I removed, and it says removed, and that will be like saved teachers that are not longer with us this year.
Yes, everything, when you remove somebody, it should say remove and archive. Uh,
Yes.
right? Because we don't like delete them, we sort of archive them, and you can press a button later, maybe when you get audited or something you need, then you can see exactly who you archived. But yes, press that button, don't worry, we
Yeah,
will.
yeah, I did that. So okay. So and to add the new ones, I just add them and send them the email, and they will receive the email to log in, create their account, and then yeah, they'll be able to do the self-reflection. Okay. When you see in the summary of the teachers and you see the little circles 1, 2, 3, and 4, those are the 4 steps to finish the self-reflection. And if they're not fully circled, it's because they haven't finished that self-reflection, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
if you put a checkbox next to the name of the person, let's say you wanted to remind people, send them one reminder email. So put a checkbox next to a name,
Oh, okay. I haven't seen
and
that
then
one.
you see where it says custom email,
Yes, let
top
me let
top
me
right
check.
corner.
Let me check. Let me find one of my teachers. Okay, so I check this and it says costume email. No, I don't see that. Ah, yes, costume email. Yes.
So there you can, like, if you send it to like 20 people or something, you can just create a message. Go back to your dashboard and complete right.
Ah, okay. I can, yeah, create the just
Exactly.
reminder to finish your self-reflection form.
Exactly.
Yes. I can give that title and yes. Okay. And from there, yeah, I can create that custom email. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's great. Okay. Yeah, I needed to ask that, take advantage
Yeah, exactly.
of this meeting today. And the more the merrier, because more people using the Spanish framework, that means more people will be adding to the resource library and things. So
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
also a win-win for us, I mean, to everyone. So that's the idea. We build community. Okay.
Agreed. Yep. It was very nice
Okay.
to meet you, Sylvia.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Have a
Okay.
Bye,
wonderful
guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.